Welcome to the Tech Talks podcast. Today I'm joined by Toby Wilman from InfinityWorks. Hi, Toby.
Hi, Jack.
You okay?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. Yes, thanks for coming down. I know it was a long walk from the amazing InfinityWorks offices over in Circle Square.
Thanks for that.
But I know. You give me a hard time about it. But no, thanks for coming. Just for anyone who doesn't know who you are, I don't know who that would be. Could you tell us a little bit about Toby and who you are?
Sure, my name's Toby. I'm a lead talent partner at InfinityWorks. Been there for about 3 years now. Focused on all things to do with bringing in new people to the business, anything to do around talent attraction with the brand, events, all that side of stuff, yeah.
Nice. 3 years. I didn't realize it'd been that.
Yeah, it was my infiniversary the other day.
Wow. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Great stuff. So,
great.
Look, you've been in recruitment for quite some time, of course. But what was I guess the journey from young scallywag Toby to where you are now?
An interesting one, yeah. Not a conventional one, I suppose. Not really many journeys into recruitment are conventional, are they? I was a bit of a tearaway kid. Expelled from one school, went to another school, was a bit of a tearaway there. Ended up travelling for a long time. Or before that, actually, I did a little bit of gardening, landscape gardening,
nice.
Which I lived in Glossop in the High Peaks, so digging trenches in Buxton in -3 in pure clay and rain was not for me. These hands are too soft. So I eventually went travelling for a while and did like 5 years doing seasons in different places and did pieces of work in between and did bits of travelling in between and eventually came back to the UK to try and start some sort of career, which was difficult because my CV was just this absolute wild array of partying and doing all sorts in all different places. So I got a job in a call centre and worked my way up actually. I enjoyed that life. The call centre life was great. I really enjoyed it. We had so much fun. We were selling gas and electric to B2B. So it was really sort of fast-paced, 300 phone calls a day. We had great fun there. Ended up sort of taking a step away from that after being sort of a team manager there and going into recruitment. And I was agency then for only 3 years before I joined InfinityWorks. I only did sort of 3 years agency. 4 years agency. Okay. Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, definitely. And you were always very heavily involved in the community. I know you had the DevOps Battle Royale, which you're still doing that, right? Or is it?
It sort of went on pause through the pandemic because we did sort of the Battle Royale. The whole theme around the Battle Royale was to do breakaway sort of sessions. It was to do sort of a tech talk event, but then afterwards to bring people together to do a bit of what we call forced networking, to break people into workshops with people that they'd not come to the event with.
Yeah.
So they can talk about any problems or issues they're having, things from topics on the night. It didn't work virtually. We tried it once. I think that whole workshop thing was what made it so special. So we stopped it. There's talks of bringing it back. Watch this space. We're going to go nostalgic. We're going to bring it back and do something a little bit fun, I think. There is talks of that. So yeah, like I said, watch this space.
Mate, exciting. Okay, brill. And community stuff that you're doing now, I mean, again, well, it was a logical choice when you joined InfinityWorks, I guess, because you were so heavily involved in the tech community, and InfinityWorks has always been very heavily involved in the tech community. So, joining forces seemed like a logical decision. What's been happening lately?
Oh, tons. I mean, coming back from the pandemic and coming back into the ways of working where you were able to get back together and do social events and go to put meetups on and stuff like that. It's been mint. I think ideas have been brewing for a lot of people for 2 years. Certainly for me, I got tons of ideas and I constantly getting told to stop. It's not your job to set up events, Toby. I can get involved, but I'm not an events planner, as it were, but I could quite easily be one. But yeah, it's been great to get back involved in the community and doing things what feel right, I suppose. There's a big drive at the moment. We've just partnered with Accenture, so there's a big drive to bring us both together, to do events together. So we did a fantastic International Women's Day panel, which was both InfinityWorks and Accenture, which was our first joint event in Manchester. Phenomenal turnout, really good feedback from it. Been able to get some really good sort of momentum moving forward into doing more in that space. We recently held a sort of networking and quiz night, which is called Reconnect, off the back of the experiences we had at Reframe Women in Tech Conference, which was phenomenal. And the work we did at International Women's Day, we wanted to bring a social platform for people to get together and maybe not do the usual Q&A panels and the usual sort of talks around sort of confidence or technology or whatever it may be, and just give people a chance to reconnect and meet people that they would have met at these events, and just do a fun quiz. The quiz was all aimed around sort of influential women in technology and in the world, and all different things that were from music to science to tech, whatever it may be. And it was great. It was good fun. Our hosts were phenomenal on the night. Georgia Gage and James Stevenson. If you've ever met them, they are a funny pair. They did a great job. But yeah, that's some of the stuff that we're doing as well. So there's loads of stuff ticking over, and we've got some tech stuff brewing as well. So we're doing some good stuff with like the communities. DevOps Manchester, we're going to be supporting them next week actually in our new offices. Our new offices are great for events. So if anyone's looking to host or be sponsored or partner on an event, then reach out to me or any of the team, because there's tons of stuff we can offer.
I came down to see it, and it's swanky.
Yeah, it's swanky. Good. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that, and it's well set up to do hybrid events as well, which is something that I think the world needs at the moment. I think not everyone feels comfortable enough to come back into a room with 60, 70 people at the moment. So being able to offer a bit of the both is something that gives us a little bit of something else to offer above the rest, which is great. But yeah, it's a cool space. I'm enjoying working there.
Amazing. I think the last time I saw you was at the Reframe event. Reframe event, you had your own stand, and it was very busy, of course. You've always been very passionate about diversity and inclusion and getting more women into technology. And anything, I guess, new that you're doing at the moment that you can tell us about that's been helping get more women into Infinity Works? Yeah,
do you know what? It's been a bit of a lot of lessons learned over my time in internal recruitment, because obviously you can do quite a lot more. I mean, you can do a lot as an agency recruiter. You can, if you want to. You really need to focus into that space and put your time and effort into making the differences that you need to do in everyday sort of communications, into the way that you reach out to people, into the talent pools that you approach, and all these different things that you can find more people or a wider array of people that want to come into the tech world. But during internal recruitment time, we've been able to do so much in the way of focusing on networks internally and making it a great place to work internally. I think that's where it starts. You need to. It's great to be able to introduce people from or underrepresented groups into the business, but I think what it needs to be is that you need to have the right landing zone for when they get on board, and the right support and the right networks to be part of. This is an inclusive business, and sometimes when people look at the world of consultancy, they have a few preconceptions that they've made already about, I'm not right for consultancy, or that's not the right environment for me. So it's all for us to be able to work with our networks and build the right landing zone for people to come in and enjoy life as a consultant, but enjoy life in the technology industry as well, which is the most important thing, really. Tech is a phenomenal place to be at the moment. I think, I was talking about this with someone the other day. Everyone's got a place in technology. I think that everyone's got a place in tech. It's a great place for people to really find themselves, understand who they can be in their careers, their passions, unlock what they want to be in their future sort of aspirations. But also it's that big. Tech's in everything at the moment. From everything from our daily shopping to online banking to games to whatever it may be. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So there's a space for everyone in technology at the moment. It's just finding the right people to help you on your way into the business or way into the industry, and then the right support once you're on board.
I've never heard that before, actually. It's such an interesting point where everyone's so focused on making sure the process is really inclusive and everything like that, which again, obviously is fantastic. Yeah. But there's no point if when your actual working environment isn't diverse and inclusive, right?
Yeah, it is. The way we do things with the process is that we have to, in my mind, the best way to increase the pipelines or coming into the business of people from different sort of ethnic minorities or different genders or different sort of groups that don't usually come in or don't usually find a way into technology. Yeah, there is a lot to do with what we do as a talent team. There's a lot to do with people inside the business who already have these networks and utilizing their experiences and utilizing their stories and making it, normalizing the conversation. I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to normalize the conversation that this cannot be always seen as something that's stereotyped as a very sort of white male dominated heavy industry, which it is at the moment. We need to normalize it. It's changing. We need to normalize that we're all part of making it change. And what we do with our process is, we need to adapt and evolve our interviewing panels. We need to adapt and evolve our language that we use in our adverts. We need to communicate things in a better way. We need to be part of other groups. We need to be involved in, schools at an earlier age. We need to do things that from the boot camps and with all the different sort of routes into the earlier ages of people, or the earlier stages of people coming into the industry. But you're right. What the most important thing is, you need to have the right landing zone in the business. It needs to be there, because otherwise people come in and they don't have the best experience.
Yeah.
And if you give people a great experience coming into the technology industry, then they're going to stay and they're going to grow and they're going to become seniors and principals and leaders. And over 5, 10, 20 years, when we get to those levels, when we've made these changes, we'll be able to look back. And if you've played any sort of part in it, you'll be able to look back and go, smile and think, blooming heck, do you know what I mean? Like, it was a small piece that I did, but I did something.
Fantastic. Kind of leads me on to my next point, actually. You were talking about change there and adapting and all this sort of stuff. Recently, Infinity Works, as everyone knows, has gone through a really big change. Accenture.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's that been?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been something in my career. I'm going to go sort of talk about my career and we'll talk about the wider piece, but talking about my career, I've always looked at being part of one of these bigger companies as something I've always wanted to do. Like, at some point in my career, I perhaps didn't have it imminently in my sort of pipeline to happen, last year like it did. But at some point, I always wanted to be part of this bigger company. And I've had the experience to maybe see the things that I would have liked, the things that I wouldn't have liked. But now I've got the beautiful sort of balance of both, that I'm still Infinity Works, but we've now integrated with Accenture, who are, huge. And we're learning the processes. There's lots of processes around being part of a bigger business, but we're getting to adapt and change and evolve them, and in small ways at first, but it's gonna give us a better ability to. We've gone through so many levels of maturity as a consultancy. The consultancy is only 8 years old, so if you look at year 1, year 2, small outfit, ran out of leads. As we started to grow around the country, we got a little bit bigger. You had to get a little bit more, mature in the way of having fully sort of fledged people ops departments and support structures for people and all these networks that I was talking about before. As you get 500 plus, you've got so much more when it comes to academies and inroads and all these amazing things that you're able to do as a bigger business then. And you get to sort of where we are now, which is sort of 650 going towards that sort of 700 figure in the near future. It's got that overall support of a company like Accenture, who've done this with other groups. They've got people or other companies in their group, and the learnings that we're getting as a business are like phenomenal. Like, they're unbelievable. And I'm not saying it's not come about its teething problems. It has. As anything, you've got this company integrating into this big company, and whose ways of working is the better way, and what do we need to do? We challenge, and this is what we do as a company. We challenge customers we work with. We challenge each other as people inside the business. So, and we've challenged Accenture in certain ways, and I think they've appreciated that, and we've appreciated it. And the partnership, in my eyes, is at a great place now. We're nearly 18 months in, so it's gone so fast. It was February last year when it first got announced. So it's gone so quick, and we're really in a groove of things now, like the synergy projects that are coming through. The work that we're going to be doing together in the future is going to be like real next level stuff. And we can contribute in so many ways when it comes to cloud first digital transformation and every single thing that we do about building these exciting products that we've done for years inside the cloud. And we can have that support that we've never really had from a managed service sort of technology company like Accenture, who can really give us access to these customers that we wouldn't even been recognized by for 5-10 years. They wouldn't even know who Infinity Works are. Now we're sat with them, we're pitching to them, we're winning work with them.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been interesting. It's had its good moments, it's tough moments, but yeah, it's certainly, I've taken tons away from it, learning wise.
And look, Infinity Works have always had a very strong culture, as I'm sure you know. They've kind of got the best of both worlds now, because the people I've spoken to say that culture is still there, that Infinity Works mindset's still there.
Yeah.
But you've got this support and this umbrella of like a massive, massive business, like you said, who's credible across the world, whilst also having that amazing kind of Infinity Worksness that makes you who you are.
Yeah. I like that, Infinity Worksness.
Infinity Works with trademarks. Yeah, so that's mega, man, and I'm glad. So what's it meant for your role, I guess?
So my role is I've really enjoyed the fact that my role adapts and evolves all the time. So I came into the company when talent team was seen more as I suppose, probably talent team. I'm not going to say seen as a service, but because they were still doing some good recruitment stuff in the way that that we do now. But it was definitely not the recruitment that we do now. So we came in, at the stage when it was myself and Jason and then Steph over in Leeds and we had Lewis at the time as well down in London, but we were like agency background recruiters, and we came in and we got given our regions because at the time, Manchester, Leeds, London, Edinburgh just started, big focus, don't move outside your region, do what you want to do in that region. I did what I needed to do in Manchester hiring wise to the point where they're like, right, you need to stop hiring. I was like, let me go. But then it was just like, we got to a point where they were like, right, focus on things that were outside of my usual role, the things that I've enjoyed about events and getting involved in marketing and writing my first posts and doing vlogs and things like that. And I enjoyed that, but it wasn't my role. So I sort of missed that, the fast paced recruitment that I've always enjoyed doing. So as the business sort of grew a wider talent team, and it was actually when the pandemic hit, when Infinity Works sort of went through the roof, and we got, our director, who's Jen Riley, who's phenomenal, and she's really brought the team together. So now we're like a national team. We're 9 people across the country now. We've got people covering all regions. We all hire in each regions. We all have sort of different initiatives that we want to be part of. There's 3 of us who've been given certain specific work streams as sort of leaders within the team to be able to focus on, and mine is brand and talent sort of attraction and using that marketing and events piece, which is, after going through the experiences, if I ever went down a different career path, I'd love to do that. Yeah. So the fact I'm getting to do it now and learn things from the inside, it's all talent focused. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going into sort of deep marketing and sort of brand sort of work, but it's all focused around talent attraction. But the fact I'm getting to do it now is unreal.
You went from agency side to internal now, and then gone through an acquisition. You've gone through so many different episodes in terms of recruitment, so many different ways of looking at recruitment. How do you think the market's looking right now? That's a really loaded question, I know, but
I mean, we'll focus on that part because I call it the Wild West. I think the market's the Wild West at the moment. It's bonkers. I think we've all got, there's so many companies out there with so many great things to offer, and I feel that we've got a great story to tell, and we've got great careers to give people, and we're coming up against people who've got 4 or 5 other offers on the table, and I'm listening to the other offers. I'm like, boom, now that's decent as well. Like, we need to come up against this in a way that we need to make sure we find people that the best career paths for them. And sometimes you have to, I think your moral compass has to be in the right place to enjoy recruitment, or to do what, for me personally, I really sort of hold true to values and morals and things like that. And sometimes there's roles that you hear people getting, you think, do you know what, that's a little bit better for you than what we can offer. Do you know what I mean? It sounds right up your street from everything that I've heard that you've told me. That sounds bang on. Do you know what I mean? So we just have to swallow that pill and walk away from it. But all we need to do is just be active, tell people our story, tell people the careers they can have here, and make sure that we're there to answer questions, and to listen. We're here to listen. I think often you see too much talking in recruitment, and it's all should be about listening, because we need to understand what each individual we're talking to wants, and then if we can offer what they want, then it's going to be a no-brainer for all parties. So yeah, it's a crazy industry though. I'm enjoying it. I'm actually enjoying it. I think it's like everyone's a bit like going after each other, but it's good. Yeah, I like that competition.
That's a cool way to look at it, a bit like almost like being a careers advisor almost, even though you've of course got an ulterior motive because you want them to join your business. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. But I don't know. Join Infinity Works. Yeah. My advice would be, but I think it's a great way to look at it. And you told me about this before. There has been times where you've been like, look, this role, isn't as good as this role for you. You need to go and take this one. Which again, especially from an agency background, it's a tough thing to hear. But I think, like you said, I think you need to have a good moral compass. You're right.
From agency side, it's tough to hear that, and I think I reckon, and I'm not going to sort of say from your side, but I think that the impressions that I have from yourself, I think you've done things that have always been right for your people that you're speaking to, everyone you're speaking to. And I think if you can do that and you make yourself a credible person, in whether you're internal, whether you're agency side, whether you're whatever it may be, if you're a careers advisor, whatever it may be, if you make yourself credible, you make sure you listen and understand what people want, you offer solid advice, and then if it doesn't work one time, it's going to work 3-4 times afterwards. And if you're in it for the long game, not for the short game, the wins that you can have of building trust with people is phenomenal. As someone in the recruitment industry who's like, I love my job, I love recruitment, I love what we do. I often waffle away to people about how I change lives and whatnot. But it's in a way you do things in that piece of that person's journey that you're working with. And I've worked with some great people who've taught me a lot. And the fact that I've found them their next job in their career, and it's levitated them and their family or whatever it may be, their aspirations in a certain way. Like, how rewarding is that? But it's all about building trust. It's all about credibility. It's all about being your authentic self and doing what's best for the people you're speaking to. And then it'll all fall into place, I think. Well, I say that about recruitment, but it all falls out of place and into place and out of place again. Yeah. It's a bit crazy, but yeah.
Being disingenuine, people can smell it a mile off. But authenticity, people can also smell that as well. Yeah. So it's like, you might think, oh, I've lost that person from being, in a sales environment, from being too authentic, whatever. But no, like you said, it pays off dividends if you're authentic. And I think a big portion of it, you just like hit the nail on the head there, is especially in recruitment, especially the agency side, but also internal, you're finding so many people their jobs and placing so many people daily, the novelty wears off and you start to forget that, this is such a massive part you're playing in these people's lives. You need to remind yourself of that, because otherwise it becomes a numbers game. You're playing a massive role in this person's life, and it can change. It sounds dramatic, but it can genuinely change the life for the better.
I'd never let myself get there, but advice that I'd probably give that some people would just go, shut up, I'm not going to listen to that advice. But if you ever stop looking at a person and looking at them as a number, then you're in the wrong game. It's time to go into something where it's more numbers focused. Go into software sales, go into something else. But if you ever stop looking at a person as an actual person, then it's time, game over. Time to move into something else.
So true. There is places out there like that. Yeah.
Have you ever watched a film called The Family Man?
Yes, Jared Butler.
Yeah.
Mint film.
Yeah. That is, if anyone wants to watch something who's in recruitment game, that is a bit of an eye opener, and it's a very hard hitting story, isn't it? But
it is.
It shows proper hardcore recruitment where people aren't people are numbers.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a good film to watch.
A lot of ringing the bell, a lot of that sort of stuff.
A lot of ringing the bell, yeah. I don't mind the ringing the bell part. That's fine, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's a good film, that. It is a good film.
Very, very, it makes you cry, though.
It does.
But as soon as recruitment came in, so I was like, oh my God.
I honestly, Britain's Got Talent makes me cry.
Oh, God.
Adverts make me cry sometimes. I'm a bit of an emotional teddy bear.
Yeah, the John Lewis advert. That's fair.
Oh, mate.
Everyone get behind that.
Hands down.
Again, you talked about Infinity Works, and they're an amazing place. When we search Infinity Works on Google in 12 months' time, what could we expect to see article-wise and news articles and stuff like that?
It's a great question. I think you're going to see lots of progressive companies that we're continuing to work with. As a consultancy, we're one of the consultancies who work with most challenger brands around the UK, and a challenger brand is one of these disruptor companies, some that we can talk about, and one that's quite commonly known as Cinch. You've had a few people from Cinch on here. Yeah. We did some fantastic work with them. We've done work with many other sort of challenger brands, and we're going to see more of that. It's a big focus of ours. You're also going to see us start to work with some big brands as well. Not that we don't work with big brands now, because we already do. Potentially new regions, potentially new events, big growth targets, lots of support around sort of the things we spoke about today about growing networks, around sort of the D&I space, around the academy and early sort of entry into technology space. We have our academy is phenomenal at the moment. We've got sort of 4 cohorts a year happening. I think it's 4 cohorts a year. That we're doing at the moment, which are introducing people from technology or people from product into the earlier stages in their career, and they land into straight up jobs with Infinity Works, and that's been amazing watching that grow. We've got tons going on with different sort of support bubbles that we're looking to work on with Accenture and grow that partnership with Accenture. And you're going to see that obviously grow as well. So there's going to be tons happening. There's already tons cooking in the oven. So there's lots of things happening all the time, and it's going to be an exciting. When I say 12 months, exciting 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. There's so much that's going to happen and change over the next, let's say 4 to 5 years with this business, that it's an exciting place to be.
Last 2 questions. Firstly, have you got a time that you really fluffed up, like really messed up, screwed the pooch, whatever you call it?
In work or in life?
Whatever you want. And what did you learn from it?
Well, getting expelled from private schools, it was like, that was a big one.
Did you go to private school?
I did go to private school from the age of 3 through to year 8. So, I mean, that is probably one of the biggest fluff ups. My family were like distraught. They spent enough to buy a house on me going through private school, and I got chucked out for just generally being cheeky, like just didn't stop talking, loads of detentions. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest ones in my life. But I've fluffed up loads in the early stages of my life. I listened to a few podcasts recently. So podcast recommendation, high performance podcasts. There's lots on there. And I got introduced to them recently, and I've just been absolutely smashing through them. But a lot of people talk about recognizing when you're being your true self and when you're not being your true self. And I think I wanted to be accepted a lot when I was younger. The reason I got expelled, I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be the class clown. Reason when I went traveling and I came back to my friends from my local town, I was a bit of an idiot because I was saying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, bit of a showboater. And, I think I was never being my true self. And I think I fluffed up a lot with friendships, relationships, family, things like that. And it took me a long time to sort of realize that you just need to be you. And I think when I realized that, then, the fluff ups in business or whatever it may be, they're only ever learning curves. Like, they're only ever things to learn from. I think when it comes down to the other stuff, when you're not being yourself and you're perhaps hurting other people for the sake of your own gain, then that's not good. It's not good. So there's loads of life development there from my earlier stage and I admit this, and I've said sorry to a lot of people. Saying sorry is a big thing. I think, owning up to things and saying sorry is a bit of advice that I'd give to anyone. Don't just sit there and think, it's going to pass over. Like, if you want to say sorry to someone, if you want to apologize, you want to own up to something, go and do it, because self sense of relief. And it might not be something that just solves the problem straight away. You might have to work on things, but I was a bit of an idiot when I was younger. So I fluffed up a lot.
Love that. Okay. Accountability, own up to your mistakes. Love it. Cool. Well, look, I think that's it, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. And
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been so enlightening, and there is definitely a few nuggets of wisdom in there for people watching, and excited to search Infinity Works in the news in 12 months and see all this new stuff that's happening.
Nice one. Thanks, mate.